Alright, so number 19, part 2, we are asked to write a quadratic function that each graph represents. So in the first video, I wrote this quadratic function using the fact that we were given the vertex and another point. In this graph, we're not given the vertex, and I'm not 100% sure. I mean, if I estimate it, I would say it's at 1.5, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Maybe it's at 1.6 or 1.49. I'm not 100% sure. So let me use the information that I know for sure. What's clearly marked on this graph, I mean, I probably should even mark these for you guys, but my intention was, since the dots are right there, you should recognize that these two dots represent the x-intercepts. And what are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. 4 is an x-intercept, and negative 1, 0. So let's jot that down, that we have our x-intercepts, which are real zeros at negative 1, 0, and 4, 0. Alright, we also have one other piece of information that is going to help us determine the a value, this other point here. 3 comma negative 2.4, or negative 2 and 4/10. So I'll write that down, 3 and negative 2 and 4/10. So another point we have okay. So here we go. That's all the information we really need from the graph. We know that it has to be quadratic because it says so. And here's our information. We have the x-intercepts, which are the real zeros, and another point. So what form should we use? Well, obviously we want to use the form of a quadratic function that gives us the zeros. X minus z1 times x minus z2. And what are our zeros? Negative 1 and 4. So we just easily just substitute those into the function f of x. So we don't know the a value. Here's our input minus our first zero minus what do we got? Negative 1. Alright, so I'll throw that in parentheses right now, just substituting in the 0 from up here. And then my second 0 is 4. So simple enough, minus 4, which again comes from this information. These are the zeros. If you input 4, it outputs a 0. If you input negative 1, it outputs a 0. So first let's clean up a little bit. A times the quantity x plus 1, x minus 4. Simple enough to check this. Mental math. If you input negative 1, negative 1 times 1 makes a 0 here, and everything multiplied by 0 eventually becomes 0. So there we go. Likewise, if you input 4 here, 4 minus 4 makes this group a 0. All these other numbers get multiplied by 0, which ultimately outputs a 0. So here we go. Now how do we find the a value? Similar to the last example, we need our other point. We know that when we input 3, which is our x, then we output negative 2.4, which we call f of x. Right, just notation. So input 3, output negative 2.4. Let's do it. Output negative 2.4 when we input 3. So a times, let me fill in. I'm going to input this with a 3 in a second, but use a little bit of color. There we go. That's true. And now we just solve for a. We have one equation here with one unknown. We can do this. Four times negative 1 is negative 4 times a. And undo the multiplication with some division. Not too bad. sayonara. Here we are. Our A value is negative divided by negative is positive. If this was 24 divided by 4 is 6, but it's not 24. It's 2.4. So I think of it in terms of money, $2.40. Divide that by 4. That probably is 60 cents. Yeah, that's what it is. So A is 0.6. Well, that's not what we were asked to find, was it? We were asked to find a function that models that would give that graph. So we have to actually write our function. So put the puzzle pieces together. F of x is A. Oops. We found A. 6/10 x, have to refresh my memory here, plus 1, and x minus 4. I think that's it. X plus 1, x minus 4 is our group, and we found our A. I just realized in the last problem I did not convert to standard form because that's what the directions asked us to do. Write your answer in standard form. Points off for Mr. Dolowitz for not following the directions in his previous question, but I will do it now. So referring back to this little sheet, if you're in intercept form, to get to standard form, we just expand this out. So let's do it, and we're done. How do you want to do this? I like to multiply my groups first and then distribute the 6/10. So that's what I will do. Again, I think I said this in an earlier video. I'm allowed with multiplication, if we think of it in an easier example, if I had to multiply these numbers, I might decide to do 2 times 4 first to get 8, then multiply by 3, then by 1. But what's nice about multiplication is we are allowed to add in, multiply in any order, because multiplication is commutative. Yep, so there we go. So I'm going to multiply my groups first. So I'll take care of this at the end. X times x makes x squared. Negative 4 times x. 1x and negative 4. And clean this up. 0.6 times my like terms here, minus 3x minus 4. Last but not least, distribute that through. Negative times a positive is negative. 60 cents 3 times is $1.80. And then 0.6 here, 60 cents 4 times is 2.424. And there you have it. Let me go through and quickly check this on a calculator. I haven't done this yet, so here goes nothing. Early example, sayonara. F of x is 6/10 x squared. Refresh my memory here. Minus 1.8. Whoops, sorry about that. Getting used to using this. Minus 1.8x minus 2.4. And we didn't know the vertex. Hey, remember we estimated it, we thought it was 1.5. Well, now we just verified that it actually is. But we didn't know that at the beginning. We knew the zeros were 4 and negative 1, and that another point on the graph was f of 3. Let's see. Are we outputting negative 2.4? We absolutely do. The point 3, negative 2.4 is on our graph. So, voila, we did it. Good work. Practice this again on your own, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Good luck.